This is your weekly dose of space. The first of 8 launches this week was on November 17th, with SpaceX's Falcon 9 launching the Sentinel-6B satellite into low Earth orbit. The first stage landed back at Landing Zone 4, marking the 500th reflight of a Falcon booster. November 18th saw the launch of Prometheus run on Rocket Lab's Electron in its suborbital HASTE configuration. It launched from Launch Complex 2 at Wallops Island in Virginia, and the payload was successfully deployed. There were 2 launches on November 19th, the first one being a Falcon 9 with Starlink Group 6-94, launching 29 Starlink V2 mini satellites into a low Earth orbit. It landed on Droneship, a shortfall of Gravitas. A few hours later, a Long March 2C lifted off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in China and successfully deployed 3 satellites into a low Earth orbit. On November 20th, there was another Electron launch, sending a Black Sky Gen 3 satellite into a low Earth orbit. November 21st again had 2 launches, the first one being another Falcon 9, with Starlink Group 6-78 sending another 29 Starlink V2 mini satellites into low Earth orbit. Stage 1 landed back on Droneship, just read the instructions. Later in the day, a Long March 3B launched from the Xichang Satellite Launch Center in China, with an unfortunately unknown payload or trajectory at the time of writing this. The last launch of the week was yet another Starlink launch, a Falcon 9 launching another 29 Starlink V2 minis into low Earth orbit for Group 6-79, with the first stage landing back on Droneship, a shortfall of Gravitas, this being the 150th Falcon 9 launch of the year. In other news, Blue Origin announced a series of upgrades to their New Glenn rocket following last week's successful launch, with higher engine performance on both stages. They also announced a new variant of New Glenn 9X4, adding 2 new engines to both stages, greatly increasing propellant capacity, and it will also have a larger fairing diameter of 8.7 meters. They also returned their first ever flight-proven New Glenn booster, named Never Tell Me the Odds, to Florida, with it now being refurbished and prepared for its next flight. SpaceX rolled out the first next-generation V3 Super Heavy booster, which acts as the first stage for the Starship launch vehicle. Booster 18 was rolled out to the Massey's test site and has thousands of upgrades over the previous generation of boosters, and this booster was supposed to be tested here over the coming days. However, as I was writing this script, Booster 18 experienced a major anomaly and completely ruptured, leaving it with major damage, so unless SpaceX can somehow repair this, I don't think Booster 18 will be flying on Starship Flight 12. Lastly, NASA shared images of the fully stacked SLS rocket, which will be used for Artemis 2, the first human spaceflight to the moon since 1972. It will soon be rolled out to the launch site for a launch day dress rehearsal, with a launch date no later than April 2026. NASA also shared some new angles on the interstellar comet 3I Atlas, with several spacecraft across the solar system having taken pictures of the visitor. There are at least 9 flights scheduled for next week, so if you want to stay up to date with all things spaceflight, be sure to drop us a follow.